All right, it's Tito here with the Buckeye Blitz. Follow me on the X at It Happens. This is powered by Fantasy Sports. Fantasy Sports powered by the DSP Media Network. Go and download the app. Fantasy Sports app is on Apple and Android both. Check those out. It's free. Round-the-clock programming. Lots of great shows. The Scott Hamilton show's been taken off. That's awesome. Rob Thitoff's got his Notre Dame Fighting Irish Daily Blitz, which is also good. All the other content we have, the Fantasy Football Show, all these things. So much going on. Check it out, the fantasysports.com website. Also, go to the Fantasy Sports Facebook group. Go out there, interact with hosts, leave your comments. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much, though, for tuning in today. All right, the Ohio State-Purdue game coming up football-wise on Saturday. It's on Peacock, exclusively on Peacock. So not on NBC. You won't be able to find it on any of the networks. It's on Peacock. Go check it out there. And we'll talk more about Peacock later on as it pertains to Ohio State basketball. But this is the way of the future, bud. So it's going to be games on Peacock. You will see Ohio State football on Peacock sometimes. You will see Ohio State basketball on Peacock sometimes. It's where we're at. So, I'm not encouraging you to necessarily buy the app or to subscribe to the app or whatever. But if you want to get it, that's where the game is on Saturday. Ohio State Purdue, interesting matchup. Now, Ohio State coming off the game against Maryland. We talked about that earlier in the week. Ohio State has lost 5 of their last 8 in West Lafayette. Let's go through those losses they've had. Reluctantly. In 2000, they lost 31-27. Ohio State gave 21 fourth-quarter points. Drew Brees threw a 64-yard touchdown pass with 1:55 left in that game to get the win for the Boilermakers. Brees threw for 455 in that game. 2004, they lost 24-17. Dustin Keller caught a 14-yard pass from Kyle Orton with just a little more than 2 minutes left in that game. 24-17 loss in 04. 2009, they lost 26-18. 2011, 26-23. Ohio State went to overtime at 2020. Ohio State kicked a field goal in overtime on their first possession. Purdue scores a touchdown to win it there. And then probably the toughest one, 2018, the 49-20 loss. Ohio State came in ranked number 2 in the country in that game. They trailed 14-3 at the half, 21-6 after 3, and then they were outscored 28-14 in a wild fourth quarter. 42 points alone in the fourth quarter. Buckeyes take the loss there. So West Lafayette's not an easy place to play for a few reasons. One, it seems like it's normally a trap game for Ohio State. The way the schedule makers work it out, it seems like the Buckeyes normally are playing right before a big game. And that's happening this week again because Ohio State's got Penn State up after Purdue. Purdue's not a great team this year. They're a team this year. They're okay. They're not great. They're below average. But it's always a trap game for Ohio State, it seems like. Purdue, very banged up on offense. In Ohio State's defense should be able to take advantage of that. Now, Purdue's quarterback is Hudson Card. He came over from Texas. He is going to be the key in this game for Purdue's offense because he went to Texas, played there. Obviously, they've got the other guys that come in that push him out the door a little bit, and that's what happens. And so he ends up transferring to Purdue now, and that's where Hudson Card is. So Ohio State, admittedly, they recruited him. Ryan Day said this. They were recruiting him a couple of times. Once when he went to Texas, then when he transferred out of Texas, they were looking at him also before he goes to Purdue. Quinn Ewers is the one who came in and took the job from Hudson Card. Then Arch Manning came in, and that forced Hudson Card out the door. So he was also, by the way, ironically, he was a high school quarterback on Garrett Wilson's team back in high school. So anyway, that's what we're looking at right now. Purdue's offense, that will be the key to their offense is the performance of Hudson Card and what he can do, which means Ohio State, you got to look at like Sonny Styles, Josh Proctor, Lathan Ransom, how they defend the pass. Purdue's not going to be able to run the ball in Ohio State. They will try to pass the ball. That is the only way Purdue will have success in this game against the Buckeyes. And if Ohio State's defense plays like it has, it shouldn't be an issue. It should be okay for Ohio State, but they've got to watch that the pass, again, Styles, Ransom, and Josh Proctor are going to be very important in the Ohio State pass defense. They've got to get pressure on Hudson Card, make him uncomfortable. Ohio State's offense, otherwise. The running game, this is a great week to get right. Travion Henderson is back. It looks like for Ohio State, they should be full go at running back. And Ohio State does want to establish the run. They're going to try to do that early on. And I think this is a great opportunity for Ohio State. Looks like weather might not be great. It might be a little rainy and windy there. which could lend Ohio State the opportunity to run the ball more often. That is where they're going to have to impose their will, is on the ground. That will set up the pass game. I know McCord had a nice finish to last week's game. Tough start against Maryland. Nice finish. Ohio State this week will try to run the ball early on, it looks like, and establish that. We're not sure on Egbuka status. I think he'll play Egbuka. I think Emeka will play for them, but we'll see what happens with that. Let's switch gears now and talk basketball. We had the media days for Big Ten and men's, women's basketball both recently. Media poll for the men has got Purdue, Michigan State, Maryland, Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, and Ohio State 7th in that one, followed by Northwestern, Iowa, Rutgers, Michigan, Nebraska, Penn State, Minnesota. Player of the year in the preseason poll, Zach Edey, Purdue. No surprise. The big guy comes back. Not going to be a great pro player. There's no way. They don't have players like him, the kind of plodding big guy that does well in college. He's not going to have a significant role in the NBA, I wouldn't think. Scotty Middleton for Ohio State did get a single vote for Freshman of the Year. Jamison Battle, who came over from Minnesota, he's a big addition to this year's men's basketball team. He got a few votes, I think 4 for Transfer of the Year. And by the way, bracketology for ESPN has the Buckeyes as one of the first 4 out, meaning they're on the brink of being in the tournament, but not quite there yet. Other things that came out from Media Day on the men's side. Chris Holtmann talked about Tayson Chapman, who's an incoming freshman who's expected to be a very big contributor to this team. He will be questionable to start the season. He may come out in mid-November, but he's got a minor knee procedure he talked about. November 6th, Ohio State starts off against Oakland. He might not be available for that. Austin Parks, who is a 250-pound center. He's 6'10", out of St. Mary's. He's got some back issues, back spasms. I should say, if I say back issues, it sounds worse than it is. Back spasms, and we'll see what happens with him. Holtmann at media said Taysom's out 4 to 6 weeks with a minor knee procedure. Austin's has a back spasm. We'll see. Austin should be returning soon. So Ohio State is coming off a very tough season last year. I told you I talked to Chris Holtmann, and he said it was the toughest coaching season of his career. Understandably, they went 5-15 in the conference. That's awful. 5-15, 16-19 overall. There was a stretch where they lost 14 of 15 in conference play. Unacceptable. And so, and the team finished strong, though. We'll talk about that because going into the season now, Chris Holtmann said that recently Bruce Thornton has been a big-time leader on this team. He came on really played well at the end of last season. I think over the last 8 games, he led the team in scoring, averaged like over 16, almost 16.5 points a game. And then we get to the Big Ten tournament. And you remember the Big Ten tournament, Ohio State goes in, and we're concerned about where they're at. They're not playing well. They've got to win the tournament to get in the NCAA tournament. They don't win the tournament, they're not getting in. Okay. In their first game against Wisconsin, Thornton had 15 points. Win over Iowa, he had 17 points. Win over Michigan State, unlikely win. Thornton had 21. Roddy Gale Jr. had 15. Then in the loss to Purdue, Gale had 20. So it's promising that those guys are back, and those guys are building on what you saw last year. Bruce Thornton, Roddy Gale Jr., very important players for the upcoming season. On the front line, Felix Okpara, I love what he was able to do. If you look at among all the Ohio State players on the men's team the past year, look at week 1 to where the season ended. Okpara may have grown more than anybody. Had a lot of confidence as the season wore on, became more of a look. Initially, he was like, alley-oop, throw it up. Okpara gets it, dunks it, plays defense. He became more versatile as the season wore on. I can't wait to see what he can do along with Zed Key, who's back again. I love Zed Key, love his leadership. I think he has a big year. All right, we talked about Peacock. 5 Ohio State men's basketball games this season will be aired strictly on Peacock. The A&M game, Texas A&M early on, I think their second game of the season, that will be on Peacock. Also Nebraska, January 23rd. We've also got Illinois, January 30th, Indiana, February 6th, and on the road with Wisconsin on February 13th. Ohio State, I know fans, you're not used to it. You're going to have to go to Peacock to find these games. That's the way it is. The way the media rights deals are going, you're going to see more streaming options try to get you to spend your money on those apps, on those subscriptions. That's what's going to happen with Ohio State basketball, both men, women. It's going to happen with football also. That's the way it's going to be. So get used to it. And Tony Petitti talked about that, the Big Ten commissioner, and talked about streaming is going to become more and more prevalent as we go on. All right, the women's side. Their media days came out. Kevin McGuff said, and I agree with this right here, that the Big Ten is the best conference in basketball. Again, they are. When you got Ohio State, you got Iowa, you got Indiana. You've got some really quality teams playing in the Big Ten on the women's side that are Final Four potential teams. Ohio State, in the most recent bracketology, was picked as a Final Four team. Ohio State this year is going to be one of the best, if not the best, defensive teams in the country. They played it well last year, and they've had some fractured times lately with J.C. Sheldon missing time, Madison Green, key components to their full court press, their 40 minutes of hell, I call it. I don't think McGuff calls it. Nolan Richardson called it that with Arkansas. I'm going to call it that. It's 40 minutes of hell with the press they put on there. And if you go back and watch some of their games last year, especially end of the season, how good they were in against Connecticut, specifically watching what they did with their full court press. It got better this year. Celeste Taylor from Duke joins the team. Transfer in. She went to Texas and then over to Duke and now to Ohio State. McGuff said he recruited her 3 times. All 3 times McGuff's been on Celeste Taylor. ACC Defensive Player of the Year. A huge addition to this team. And he said she brought a level of maturity experience that's going to be really beneficial to this team, is what McGuff said at the media day out in Minneapolis. Talked about her ability to defend. And look, she can also score the ball, and she does other things as well. The defense, though, is what she's known for. But she does a lot of things on the offensive side of the ball. She rebounds well. She creates turnovers with her steals. As a matter of fact, she had a double-double, I think, rebounds and steals in the ACC tournament last year. And like I said, ACC Defensive Player of the Year. She had rebound, steals, double-double, and their loss to Colorado in the second round of the NCAA tournament. That's what it was. So you've got her coming in, which is a huge addition to this team. She's not a freshman. You have to worry about getting acclimated. She is she's played at Texas, played at Duke, and McGuff loves her, and so I trust in that. You've got Cody McMahon coming back, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. You've got J.C. Sheldon coming back. Taylor Theory coming back. Oh, my gosh, Ricky Harris is huge for this team. Madison Green, they think, will come back at some point in November. That will only add to the defense if she can stay healthy this year. The Buckeyes, they will start against USC in the Naismith Hall of Fame Series Classic. Naismith Hall of Fame Series in Las Vegas. November 6th, they'll play USC. USC's got the top freshman in the country coming in. Ohio State's also, they're playing they got a road game in Tennessee. They've got a tough non-conference schedule, and Ohio State is going to be a potential Final Four team this year. The women's team, Kevin McGuff, they've got it working the right way. Recruits coming in, great talent coming back. He's done a great job of navigating the transfer portal and adding people in there. The Ohio State women's basketball team is likely to be a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, and I think a likely Final Four team. So enjoy it. Go out there and watch them. I'm telling you, it's a cheap ticket. It's an easy ticket. Go out there and watch them play, and it's a lot of fun. What they do on defense is really interesting, and they force a lot of turnovers. So this Ohio State team, again, go watch them. Cody McMahon, by the way, one of the best players in the country, not just in the Big Ten, in the country. I want to close out on this. And Troy Dannon is the new AD at the University of Washington. Washington is among 4 teams entering the Big Ten next year: Washington, Oregon, USC, UCLA. And he made a comment that is nothing short of asinine on 93.3 KJR in Seattle. This is his comment. If budgets won championships, Ohio State and Texas would win everything, and they haven't won much lately. I can see where you would say that about Texas. Yes, I get it. About Ohio State, though, with how many times Ohio State's won the Big Ten lately in football, for sure. And that's what he's talking about here. It's more about football. But in football, how many times they've been to the CFP? 3 times the last 4 years. I don't know how he can say something so asinine and so stupid when Ohio State has been clearly more decorated than Washington over the last 3, 5, 10, 20 years. What is Tony Dannon talking about? He's the new AD for Washington. And by the way, I can't wait till Ohio State gets to play Washington. When they get to play them, it will be after Michael Penix Jr. is gone, and Ohio State's going to mop the floor with them. Mark it down right now. So Tony Dannon can shut the hell up. I don't know why he's saying this. It makes no – look, I don't mind saying things, talking trash if it's factual. This is not factual. Ohio State has won a lot recently. Texas has not. But Ohio State certainly has won a lot. They've got a 2014 national championship team, and they've been to the playoff under Ryan Day. I don't know what Washington's talking about. So I can't wait to keep an eye on that. And not to quote Deion Sanders too much, but I'm going to keep receipts on that as well and see what Tony Dannon does. All right. That is your Buckeye Blitz for today. Thank you so much. Can't wait to watch Ohio State Purdue. It's on Peacock. Go check it out. We'll talk after the game. Thanks so much for tuning in. Fantasy Sports. Download the app, Apple, Android, fantasysports.com. Do it all. We'll talk soon. Take care.